welcome to this week's episode of Work the Left Side. I am joined by the fucking musician. I nearly called you musician then. Sorry about that. Musician, Liam from the Magic of Wrestling. How's it going, man? You all right?
I'm very, very well, mate. How are you?
Yeah, man, I'm Coach. I'm good. So obviously, the conversational topic this week is British wrestling. Sort of the good, the bad, the ugly. I don't think there's too much of the second two things for me. Spoiler alert, I think it's pretty fucking awesome, to be fair.
It is. Absolutely.
It's in a very healthy place. But yeah, we're just going to sort of talk about, pros and cons, supporting your local promotion, slightly bigger promotions. Obviously, there's different degrees of British wrestling. You've got your £5 jobbers, you've got your £10 jobbers, you've got your £35 promotions, or have different degrees of support and reasons why you should support them as well, kind of thing. So yeah, obviously Liam's first time on the show. I know you've got your thing. I was just sort of saying the Magic of Wrestling. So thank you for joining us. And yeah, man, I just think it's a good topic, especially since we started talking on the 1PW sort of fan forum, which is we'll start off with 1PW basically because that's how we both started talking. Yeah, obviously since their return, rising from the ashes like a phoenix, years later, 10 years later. Yeah, it's for me that just shows how great British wrestling is at the minute.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even apart from 1PW, you got Progress, which is obviously another prime example. You got Rev Pro, obviously is the big one, and there's like your small promotion, which obviously you don't actually know about, but you're still getting that good range of talent, that you're seeing. Yeah. I mean, Lizzie Evo's probably a prime example. Man like Darius. These are just two which come off the top of my head, to be honest.
Well, I would sort of say, obviously, I'm based in Leeds. I'm a Nottingham boy, but I'm living in Leeds for my sins. And I mean, we've got two awesome promotions on my door, which are True Grit and Tidal. And Darius was at the last Tidal show. Liam Slater and Leon Slater have both sort of gone through, both appear at True Grit.
Mm-hmm.
The guys that, you kind of sort of see at the lesser known promotions, but are also absolutely smashing it on the big ones, like we say, 1PW, Rev Pro, Progress. These guys are just everywhere, and rightly so. They're making the money, they're getting the bookings, and that's the point to me. Is you've got these, I don't want to say smaller, but slightly less known promotions outside of the local area.
Mm-hmm.
Is appearing on those shows as well as the more established, probably wider known shows.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously you said there you got Lizzie Evo, obviously on 1PW, but then you'll see her in Progress. Or I'm not quite sure she shows up in Rev Pro. I mean, even small promotions, so you're still getting them same wrestlers, no matter if it's a small promotion or a big promotion.
Scotty Walk's another one as well. I've seen he made his debut at True Grit at the last event. Obviously, been a big part of 1PW. He's been at every 1PW show since that came back. I know in other promotions, TNT is another big one to mention as well. I know Lizzie does some stuff with TNT quite a lot. It's weird though as well with the other promotions. What's one thing that's always kind of amused me though about the British wrestling scene is depending on which promotions they're at as to whether they're face or the heel. And it's like, you can get so used to somebody being a face somewhere that you automatically cheer them. It's like, no, I'm a heel here. You need to boo me here. It's a bit weird thing to kind of adjust to.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I interviewed Kirsty Love, which was obviously somebody from UKW, which is like, it's about half an hour away from me. And she said the exactly same thing. She says, in this promotion, obviously I'm a heel, but in this one I'm a face. And I'm like, how do you compare these both? And she says it's very, very difficult. So I understand totally where you're coming from there.
Yeah, it's that's one of my favourite questions to ask people because majority of wrestlers will always be one or the other. They work both styles at different ones. It's like, what's better, being a face or being a heel? And the general thing is it's a lot easier to make somebody boo you than it is to cheer you. So I think secretly most people like just being a bastard. I think that's.
I mean, yes, straight to the point there. I like it.
That's the problem. I mean, but obviously, I was talking to Lizzie about it, and she sort of said, I mean, she can get heat like that anyway. I mean, she just does a promotion in Manchester and comes out in a Liverpool shirt. She's got heat. Like intro that she did a few weeks ago. But then, I was just sort of saying, it's tricky though, because I think British wrestling fans are just so appreciative. Like even the bad guys, we still kind of cheer them. And it takes a special somebody who can just kind of flip it like that. And I'll single Lizzie out again just because we just mentioned her. But based on what we saw, at the 1PW shows, the fans were cheering her. As soon as she gets a microphone, like especially at Lincoln, you got the "shut the fuck up" chant. No, I'm not stopping. So it goes applause to just flat out heat.
Yeah, I remember it all and often. Obviously, I was at front row, and I'm literally going, "Is she actually injured?" And I actually kind of felt sorry for her. And then when she pinned, obviously Martina, I'm like, "Oh my fucking god, you've got me big time."
Yeah,
but that's credit to obviously Lizzie herself, because she can play that heel really well. But if you see her on Twitter and stuff, she is a genuine nice person. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, she is like very positive outlook, and but that's just another sort of segue into the age of some of the wrestlers. I mean, like she was sort of saying that she was talking about the next generation of wrestlers. She's 24.
Exactly, and I mean, 24. She's winning titles in like multiple promotions in the UK. She's even obviously she's a trainer for, is it Culture Shock? Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's crazy, isn't it? Leon Slater is 18, for God's sake.
It's unbelievable, isn't it, John? When you look at age of these people, and even put him in the ring with somebody like with more experience, and just to see him actually flourish, it's really incredible.
Yeah, that's what I think. We've got the perfect mix at the minute, where you've got your established guys like your Cruisers, your Myers, your Kirby's, your Haskins, Rampage. I'm not meaning to leave anybody off that list, but yeah, you got like Mark Andrews now with classes established, Flash Morgan Webster, the established guys. And you've got your middle ground guys. I'd say like your Robbie X's, your Scotty Rocks. Again, not leaving anybody off the list, just who comes to mind first. And then you've got your next gen guys like your Derises, your Slaters. Liam Slater still, even though he's been around for like 10 years, he's still, he's probably in the same categories like your Robbie X's and your Scotty Rocks. But we've got that perfect triangle of talent for me. Where you've got the guys that are probably late 20s, and then you've got your guys that you're in your early 20s. And it's just makes for just a massive talent.
Exactly. I mean, you could go through a whole entire core of obviously wrestlers really from the UK, how well they are. I mean, the one who comes to my mind at the minute is Session as well, because apparently she's Session Moff Martina. I'm not quite sure how old she is, but do you know what I mean? She's been around obviously a while as well.
Yeah. She's. I'm not going to besmirch the lady and even try and guess her age. I'd say she's probably a little bit older than Lizzie, but not a great deal. But obviously, she's had experience, stateside. She's worked AEW Dark. She's worked numerous promotions, stateside as well. So she's coming over here with a wealth of talent. And
to answer your question, she's 32.
32. Wow. Okay.
I wouldn't have said that. I thought she were younger.
Yeah, I definitely would have placed her still in the 20s. So.
But yeah, I mean, she's obviously been around a bit. She's been in obviously Ring of Honor as well. That's another one. So yeah, she's got the experience there. Let's be honest.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I'll kind of call back around to 1PW in the sense of what they're doing well with the British talent and the imports. I hate the term imports, but you know what? It's the best way to sort of say it. People know what I'm on about. It's like guys like Lance Archer, Bobby Fish, John Morrison, or RVD. These guys are coming over, and the British guys are being treated as equals. And for me, that speaks volumes.
Yeah, can I ask you a question? Obviously, for a new twist of fate, did you think Haskins going to beat RVD? Because I didn't.
No, I didn't honestly. I thought, anybody who knows me knows I'm one of the biggest mocks on this planet for Haskins. And I was like, no, RVD's coming over. He's getting payday. He's not going to want to sort of besmirch his reputation by losing to a British guy. But yeah, man, yeah, Haskins gets the pinfall, and obviously next event does the same to Rhino. It just makes Haskins look like a bona fide star. And kudos to RVD, for looking at the lights.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, Haskins is a weird one because he's one who's actually grown on me as a wrestler. When I saw him, obviously at Twisted Fate, I will be honest, I wasn't a big fan. But as shows have progressed, obviously being there, I'm like, this guy's actually not that bad. I will be honest.
For me, man, he was the MVP in that fatal four-way for the title. I just don't think it would have worked as well if he didn't have that heel persona to work against.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Ospreay did the heel turn at the end. Now he's a twat, character-wise, obviously. But yeah, during the match, Haskins was the heel. He was the brunt of like that whole chopping segment, stuff like that. He was the brunt of, just being the shit out of. But also kind of coming back and, getting his own back as well. Giving you reasons to boo. I love Haskins. I think Haskins is the boss.
Yeah. And I also like the fact that it's a main event, it's a fatal four-way for the world title, and there's still a comedy spot.
Yeah. With 4 serious guys though, because none of those guys are what you would class as being comedy wrestlers or anything like that. They're all serious, and yeah, they still managed to make it work. The fans popped huge for it. I popped huge for it, and I'll tell you who I was impressed with, and it was Lance Archer. Enjoyed watching him in AEW as of when he gets used.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, man, when he comes out, you just kind of like, yes, this guy he's got that aura about him.
Yeah, the interesting thing is with Lance Archer, we spoke about it on our review show, is when he obviously came out, is you could see that he was embracing that crowd reaction and he looked like he was having fun.
I kind of worded this to somebody. I don't like the wording, but I can't think of a better way of saying it. But I went to all the 1PW shows originally back in the day. Obviously, we all kind of took Ulf to our heart. He wasn't a British wrestler, but we adopted him. As part of the 1PW faithful, we adopted Ulf. I'm kind of looking at Lance now because obviously he's booked for Lincoln, he's booked for Dome in August. For me, Lance is kind of like Ulf version 2. Can kind of see that guy that we just adopt as our own, and I'm just going to start backing him as a British wrestler at some point.
I mean, that's a fair comment. I mean, what do you reckon to him against Amir Jordan and Devil's Due?
I think that's just a case of thank you for taking part in the Fatal 4-Way. You did an absolute boss job. You made everybody look really good. As a thank you, we're going to put you over very, very strongly. Unfortunately, to Amir Jordan, who is good, this is going to be a 10-minute. Obviously, Amir will get some offense in, but this is just going to absolutely make Lance look like a machine.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing I like about Devil's Due is, and you might agree with this, is looking at that card now, is you're going to see wrestlers now which we've not actually seen in singles matches. I mean, Luke Jacobs is a prime example. Amir Jordan, Scotty Rock, Trey Miguel. So you're seeing wrestlers now which we've seen them in tag teams, 6-pack challenges. Now we're going to see them look one-on-one, nobody like outside you. You're going to just basically show what you can do. And I'm kind of excited for this.
Yeah, no, definitely, especially Luke Jacobs. He's another name that you would kind of class with your Derisas, your Slaters and stuff like that. He's over the last couple of years, he's come up and he just looks awesome as well. He's definitely, for me, him and Callum Newman, 2 guys that are very much on my radar now, thanks to 1PW. Very impressed. Callum Newman especially because obviously his whole thing of the Prince of Pace. It's a very, you've got Robbie X, you've got Scotty Rourke, you've got these guys who kind of embody that fast moving spirit, be able to stand out and kind of use the same sort of, not so much Scotty, but when you're on a card with Robbie and you're classing yourself as the Prince of Pace, you've got to be something special to make people be like, yeah, okay, you're cool.
And he has got the pace. I mean, that's probably one match I really watch back, and it's brilliant. I mean, you got 6 great wrestlers there, all got pace, and it did not feel like 20 minutes, let's be honest.
No, not in the slightest. I was a bit worried for it because I've only ever seen Scramble matches done once, and that was in WWE way back in the day. And they did attention it once or twice on a pay-per-view, and then we did it again. So for me, it was kind of like a red herring where it could be like, this match could go very, very wrong. But or 6 guys delivered. And again, that's a massive shout to the British talent, a massive shout to Frankie and Leo, who was very cool to see. I was quite happy to see him come back to 1PW as long as he doesn't retire again anytime soon.
Yeah, I agree there totally. So one thing I want to ask about is, and obviously we spoke about it, obviously messages, was NXT UK. Obviously that closed down. This is for me personally, and you might agree with this, is it's had a big impact obviously on the British wrestling scene, for obviously better.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, was the NXT UK thing. Well, obviously, yeah, guys like Mark Andrews, like say Lizzie, Flash Morgan Webster. I've been looking up the Rampage back promotions within Leeds, and none of these guys would have been, to be seen if NXT UK was still a force. I feel bad for the guys because they had a guaranteed payday, they had medical. I mean, they had a comfy life thanks to NXT UK. But from a selfish point of view, as a fan's point of view, I'm very much glad that they're back and that's not there.
Yeah, I think you make a valid point there, where it's like they're not restricted on NXT UK, so now they get to these are benefit. They get to see them now throughout the UK, but on the other side, it's money and it did. You know what I mean? They still obviously got to earn a living.
Yeah, that's it, and that's why. And plus, like I say, when there was with NXT UK, it's why I can't begrudge it. If it kicks back up again, if they do the NXT Europe thing and those guys go back, I'm not going to be one of these fans that kicks off like say no, WWE are hoarding the talent. And then these guys do this for a living, and they deserve to get paid, and they deserve, if they get injured, to get paid, which they won't at the minute because obviously they're just independent wrestlers. So you can't begrudge anyone that safety net.
No, I agree with that all. I think you make a valid point there completely.
And I also think British wrestling would survive. You'd have other people. There's plenty of talent around now, but I think if NXT UK did pop back up again, there are people ready to take the place of people who get signed. So I remember, what was it, 4 or 5 years ago, I think, when they went on that mission and pretty much tried to sign a lot of people. But at the same time, World of Sport was doing their thing. It was a massive thing at the time. People were either signing for World of Sport or they were, signing for NXT UK. And a lot of British wrestling fans were just in just pieces or in tears, just sort of say, who's left to see, who's left to support the indie scene, who's left to help local promotions. But as we sort of see now, plenty of people were left. Those people that were coming through. There's always that many schools in this country now. And I can't remember, I was talking to, I think it was somebody recently, and they sort of said, schools are having to turn away people now because they've got that many people, wanting to learn. So I kind of went off a tyrant there. But basically my point is, if NXT UK or NXT Europe comes and we lose those guys, if we lose like your Robbie X's, your Scotty Rourke's, your Lizzie's, Teresa's and Slater's, don't be too downhearted about it because there's a wealth of talent out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously looking now, who do you think's for the next couple of years, who do you think's wants to watch in obviously the British wrestling scene?
Right. So it kind of goes back to what I said earlier, doesn't it? About we've got the established guys that everybody, Myers, Rampage, Haskins. I think if obviously the big time ones that who could get signed for any major promotion, like stateside, I'd like to see AEW start possibly signing a bit more UK talent. Well, I do and I don't want to see it, obviously for obvious reasons. But Robbie X for me is an obvious one who's got to get signed at some point. The fact that he's not working in Japan, constantly is amazing to me.
Yeah, absolutely. The one who actually sticks out for me is Cara Noir.
Yes, as well. Obviously, Robbie Cara from a totally different viewpoint. He's just, guys, he's just majestical. He's just, no matter how many times you see the entrance, there's still that blanket of silence, when he comes out, and everybody's just like, transfixed. And just watching it, and you're just like, it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
And it's wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely. For people listening, if you want a good insight to what Cara Noir's like, I would recommend going watching his stuff with Progress, because that is absolutely top notch.
Yeah, I know he's been kind of like the major push at the minute on Progress, any kind of thing where was it Progress where they had the if he didn't win the title, he couldn't wrestle as Cara no more or something, or like the character Cara was.
Yep, spot on. Yep, spot on. And obviously, I've been kind of catching up on that, because the thing is, I mean, yeah, this one of my friends always says to me, and it sticks with me every single time. It doesn't matter if you're watching wrestling in the States, if you're watching it in any country, even in the UK. There is so much wrestling out there. It's so impossible to even watch it all. Let's be honest.
Yeah, unfortunately, I say unfortunately, you know what? I'd rather be swimming in that stuff and just filtering through it and just watching the good stuff. I mean, I'm a massive mock for AEW, just to go sidebar. I've just got back into WWE at the minute, but like I said, there's that much sort of stuff. I've got all the old 1PW DVDs. I kind of go through them every now and again and watch some of the old matches. I've not watched Rampage for weeks just because I've got so much other stuff to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how much stuff is out there. Is that I'm a massive AEW fan, and I still don't have time to watch, one of their shows because I'm watching other stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, you could literally go through the whole week. You've got Monday, you've got Raw, Tuesday, you've got NXT, Wednesday, you've got AEW, Thursday, you've got Impact, Friday, you've got Rampage, SmackDown. Coming up is AEW Collision next month. It's like there's just so much to follow. I mean, I obviously doing a podcast as well. You have to try and keep up on it all, but even then, there's like stories going. Oh, did you read about this? No, what's going on? And then you have to like catch up.
See, I hold my hands up on that one. I did that for years. Probably a couple of years ago, I used to watch What Culture every day, trying to keep up with the wrestling news, X, Y, and Z. And then a couple of years ago, I just kind of stepped back. I just cut myself off from anything wrestling news related, and I just watched the shows. Obviously, pros and cons. I ain't got a fucking clue what's going on. Anybody's contracts or anybody getting heat for anything or anything like that. But on the plus note, if somebody turns up on Dynamite or somebody comes back on Raw or SmackDown, I get that genuine pop of like, yes. I mean, I generally mark out for it because I had no idea.
Yeah, the only reason obviously I keep up on obviously all the news is because obviously for our shows we do segments saying what's been going off all this week, so you have to try and catch up. But like as I just meant, every single time it's like, did you read about this? I'm like, no, I've not read about New Japan. See, that's another one. Do you know what I mean? New Japan. There's literally so much.
And that's it. That's obviously stateside. I mean, also I did the graphic, for this episode. I think there's probably about 15 promotions that I put on the graphic for it, and probably still another 20, 30 out there that I didn't put on there or that I'm not even aware of. And that's not to say that they're not good. It's just to say that there's so much talent or so many promotions out there that it's just an absolute wealth of wrestling. If you wanted to, you could spend 24 hours a day on YouTube. Thing is, as well, a lot of these promotions put their shows or the random matches on YouTube. So if you're watching this and you only know one or two promotions within the UK, look at the graphics, listen to the names that we're saying, go on YouTube, search for them. I guarantee you they'll have a YouTube channel and they will have matches on there from their shows. You'll see some names that you know, and you'll see names that you don't. Just watch those matches. You just go down the rabbit hole, man. Go down the rabbit hole of British wrestling on YouTube. You can either thank us or curse us. You know what I mean? Because I've either made your life or I've just totally destroyed
it. Take your pick on that one. I'll be honest. So let's look into the future. I mean, what's the future hold for the British wrestling scene now? Then where we are.
Where we are, man, I don't see nothing but good sort of stuff. Obviously, it's all dependent on WWE Europe, as we've kind of discussed. That's the flip of the coin. If that comes back, obviously it segues down another way where we lose X amount of talent. And then I think some other talent will obviously take its place. Maybe a bit too soon. I don't know. It'll take a couple of years to get back to where it is now. If NXT Europe doesn't come about, just the amount of talent we've got now, dude, it's just nothing's going to change. I don't think everybody's making a living. I think it's big enough where people are the established names make a living from wrestling now, most of them. So they're quite happy going along. I think the guys in the middle, they'll start making a living from just wrestling. And then you guys like your Slayers and those lot, 5 or 6 years down the line, they'll just be wrestling as a career. I don't see much changing, except I don't even think it's going to get any better, because I don't think it can get better than it is now. It'll get different. I don't think many more promotions will come up, because I say there's that many out there now anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, yeah, right, to answer your question, I don't think much will change depending on, like sort of say, the NXT Europe. I think it'll kind of just stay as it is now, which is awesome for me. Yeah, what's your thoughts? What do you think? I mean, obviously I'm jibbing away now, but
no, it's fine. I think I agree there totally. I think it is in a great place now, and I've just mentioned there we've got a core of talent, no matter what the age. You know what I mean? Who really can put on a great show. And if obviously NXT does come back, I mean, they always when it comes to wrestling, I always say never. You never actually know what's going to happen. But yeah, I think that if NXT does come around and we do lose, obviously X, Y, and Z, I still think there is actually a great core of talent to step up. And I think that's the key one, step up, even if it does take a few years.
I'll also massive shout out as we talk about the next wealth of talent. There's a promotion in Sheffield called Pursuit. Well, it's a school at the minute. I'll class them more as a school, Pursuit Wrestling. But they've got their first show coming up very soon. They are actually going to start operating as a promotion as well, which is huge for me, because if you look, I don't know, are you aware of Pursuit Wrestling?
I am not. As you mentioned there's so many like promotions even I'm not aware of.
Right. Well, I'll say it's more of a school at the minute, but it's run primarily by Liam Slater and Nathan Black, I want to say. Liam Slater is more the face of it. I know of, being a Leeds guy. But if you on social media, they've managed to absolutely corner wrestling on social media for me, where you kind of see, they take you behind the curtain, you see the classes, you see people going through things, and well, yeah, Liam Slater's like a head coach there, and you guys like Derises, Slater's, majority of talent that's coming through now that are going to be your future stars, I would sort of say have kind of gone through or done something at Pursuit. And yeah, I always kind of try to mention them if I can. Just, they are the future of wrestling for me in this country.
Yeah,
or the new wrestling for me, because it's just unreal.
Yeah, for us as fans, though, it's actually great to see, wrestlers evolve as well. That's obviously a key one. Growing up from obviously where they are now and maybe going on to bigger pastures, but we can look back saying, look, we saw this person at the start of their career and look in now where they've gone. Do you know what I mean? It's probably great for us as fans.
Yes, that's the key thing for me as well. That's what I was going to go to somewhere. So thanks for reminding me about it. I was saying earlier about, you've got your obviously, you've got your 1PWs, your progressors. They tend to use obviously the more established stars, the reliable people. I'm lucky enough to I've got like True Grit and Tidal, who take a bit more of a chance. Sometimes I'll have 2 or 3 guys that are just like learning the stripes. And there's a lot of promotions out there around people. Tickets might be like 15 quid, 10 quid, 50. Go see those shows, because those guys are the stars of 3 or 4 years' time. Fingers crossed, obviously, like 1PW, obviously, I don't think Progress is going. Again, never say never, but Progresses, ICWs, they're not going anywhere. Yeah, in 3 or 4 years' time, these guys that you spent a tenner on to see, I mean, they're going to be like your reliable bookings on the 35 quid, 45 quid ticket jobbers. See them learning the trade, get behind them, show them that encouragement, give them a reason to keep going, and to get better.
Yeah, and it's a proud moment for obviously us as fans to see a wrestler evolve. I mean, for me personally, the prime example, I'm referring back to Lizzie again. First time I would say I saw Lizzie was obviously back in October at Twist of Fate. And I remember watching that match against Mickie James going, okay, I was quite impressed. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? And then obviously fast forward to No Turning Back, which was the next show, and she put on a great show. And then All or Nothing. I mean, to see her evolve so much is really, for me as a fan. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Lizzie. I would love to get her on my show.
I'll put that in the tweet and see if I can do it. I'll drop your name.
Yeah, but like I said, that's just a prime example. You know, seeing that wrestler evolve. But I'm sure you, obviously, as fan as well, you've got a few wrestlers like that, seeing them evolve.
Dude, yeah, I knew, unfortunately, I've turned my age a little bit, but I've been around watching British wrestling for like 10 plus years. Like I say, I was there at the original 1PWs. I've supported numerous promotions around Leeds and Nottingham. I'm of that age where I used to go to Preston like every month, 7 or 8 years ago, 9 years ago. You know, I've seen like the Chris Travis's, Martin Kirby's, Joey Hayes. You know, I saw Finn Balor. I had like classic matches against Chris Travis, whereas Prince Devitt, Chris Masters coming over again, smashing it with Chris Travis. But yes, guys like that. For me, the biggest one is, and hopefully I'll see him again at 1PW soon. He was there at the first show, but he hasn't been seen since, which I want to pick your brain about at some point. Is Liam Slater. I saw him years ago in Bradford wrestling as Liam Lazarus.
Mm-hmm.
A little kid, you know, at that point, and he's gone through every promotion that's local. Saw him become Tidal world champion, having matches against Rampage Brown, and just coming out to the Venga Boys of all fucking things. And then obviously now, like, you know, he's heading up Pursuit Wrestling with guys like, you know, and for me, he's one of the best. He was in World of Sport, signed him up. He's one of the best technical wrestlers for me in the country. And yeah, obviously he was there at the 1PW show, the first one, where they kind of like started a story and they haven't touched on it again since. So I'm like, I don't know if it's been dropped, if they're going to go back to it. It looks like there was a dastardly little faction being formed. But yeah, Liam Slater, prime example I've seen literally from day one, and just seeing where he is now, it's unreal.
I'm going to sound like an absolute idiot here, but I know the name, but I don't actually know much of his stuff. So once I'm done here, I'm going to Google this kid.
Yeah, Liam Slater, man, check him out. His quality. He's pound for pound, technically just amazing. And yeah, but you know, remember the new Twist of Fate?
Mm-hmm.
I think the hardcore match, a group of guys came out and beat the shit out of, I want to say, Iceman and Ulf, and then one of them cut like a 10-minute promo on Steve Gortley.
Wasn't that the? No, it was the Team Shag match, wasn't it?
Oh, it was Team Shag. Sorry, yes, sorry, it was a Team Shag one. Sorry, not the hardcore match. Yeah, it was after the Team Shag match, and yeah, that faction not been seen since. But yeah, Liam was part of that. So
really, okay. I remember the actual faction then, and when I watched it back on obviously the pay-per-view, I'm like, why have they not shown this? There might be obviously a reason for that, but now you mention it, I kind of like thinking, why have we not seen them since?
Yeah, that's what's been. Yeah, it's been bugging me since, because I generally popped for that. So yeah, anyway, that's hopefully 1PW go back to that. If it's for other reasons, like maybe booking conflicts, they've just not been able to go on it. Maybe it's just been put on the back burner for now. Hopefully we'll see him, you know, in the future. But yes, Liam Slater, Google him, check him out. He's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
I stuff with Tidal and Google it. That's why I'm so up on him, because he's a elite boy.
Yeah, I think I need to check obviously Tidal and stuff. Obviously, I've seen him come up on a newsfeed, but again, it's kind of going back to what we said: is there's just so much wrestling to try and catch up on.
Oh, another name. He made his 1PW debut at the last show. I can never pronounce it. Vuskis or something like that.
Vusic.
US. Again, he's another one that's prominent in Leeds. But he was in the dark match at the last 1PW show, the tag match.
Mm-hmm. He put an impressive show, to be quite honest. I was really impressed with his in-ring style, so I do actually hope we do see more of him. But is that Pro Wrestling Zero, which is obviously something which is starting up in June or July? It's like a small. I'll send you a link for it, but I know he's on that actual card because I've seen his picture.
Nice. Okay, it kind of reminds me. You kind of get the English low-key vibe. You know, he just kind of looks like he'll punch you in the face and then kick you in the face as well.
Yeah, I remember watching it going, "Oh, the hell is this kid?" But that's the good thing, obviously, about 1PW. You do see talent who you're not actually familiar with, and then you actually go, "Actually, these. I'm impressed."
Yeah, and you then go down the rabbit hole, like sort of said, mentioned Callum Newman. You know,
Mm-hmm.
ended up YouTubing him, watching various amounts of his matches. And, there's lots of like Luke Jacobs is another one. It's mental. Like that's we'll kind of keep going back to 1PW but I think it's kind of like a neutral zone for both of us. It's a good point of example where we can talk about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a 1PW show. This isn't, but I say it's just a nice point of reference. Where again, you've got the imports, but they're making British fans aware of guys like Callum Newman, Cups, Amir Jordan, Will Cruz, however you pronounce his surname. He's another one for the future, man. That guy's huge. He's going to be an absolute force if and when he ever gets signed up, to the like somewhere else kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I'm actually looking forward to that triple threat match with Cruz and Haskins. I really cannot predict who's going to walk out of that match, to be quite honest.
I've missed that announcement. What's that? Haskins and...
It's a triple threat at Devil's Due. It's Haskins versus Cruz versus Will Cruz. So Cruz and Cruz, yeah. Nathan Cruz and Will Cruz.
Right, okay. Awesome. Okay, so yeah, you got your two established guys, and then you got Big Will in there, to hit them both with the moonsault and just genuinely smash the crap out of them, basically.
Yeah, I think there's some sort of implications. Can't quite remember off the top of my head. I think it's something to do with the Rumble match at Know Your Enemy.
Okay, cool. I haven't been on social for a while, to be fair. Besides just plugging my own shit, so I'll have to go through 1PW's page and have a look. So I kind of had my money on Haskins going against James Storm.
No, so for some reason, because they kept plugging Martina and Storm, I'm thinking these have got to tag up somehow. I kind of knew.
Yes. So yeah, I mentioned somebody posting about that the other day, asking who Lizzie's got to pick as a partner.
I haven't got a clue.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense now. So okay, Martina and James against Lizzie and so on. Okay, cool. But yeah, Will Cruz. Former shout out to his former manager Dale Mills. Just because I like to mention his name. He's an old school 1PW alumni as well. Yeah, Will Cruz for me is another one. Go check out his stuff. But again, he's another name that fans can go and explore. They can go and enjoy like the wealth of other stuff, because these guys have been around for like 3, 4, 5 years. Maybe just working at the £10-15 ticket ones for a while, and now they're becoming, I'm not going to say household names, but they are household names within people who appreciate wrestling, British wrestling fans who appreciate wrestling, kind of thing. Then they know the stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree with that totally.
But yeah, so I'm trying to think of the other big stars, man. Like I said, it's just the whole point of this episode is just how awesome British wrestling is, who's out there. I kind of want people to watch this and then be like, right, I say go onto YouTube, look for these guys, who, besides the names that we've mentioned, is that like Scotty Rourke's another one for me. Thanks to W. Thanks to obviously True Grit as well. He's a name that's now on my radar, who I'm a massive fan of. And again, YouTube him, and there's a plethora of amazing matches out there to watch.
Yeah, the two wrestlers which I'm looking at the minute, one is Lana Austin. That's another one.
Okay, yeah. Lana Austin. She's I'd be surprised if she doesn't turn up at 1PW at some point. Again, she's somebody that I've seen around this area. She was very much a local Tidal. I'm very spoiled with pre-Global Bastard. Tidal was huge for me. It was borderline getting as big as like your PCWs, your TNTs and stuff. Like the talent that I was lucky enough to see in Leeds, thanks to Tidal, was like you had your British stars like Lana Austin, like I say, Rampage Brown, Kirby, Travis, all of Matt Myers, all those guys, Nathan Cruz, have all gone through Tidal. But they did what 1PW did as well. They were very smart with the import bookings. It's like Tommy End pretty much, or Malachi Black became like a local Leeds boy thanks to Tidal, every Tidal show kind of thing. I've seen Ricochet there. I've seen Adam Cole was at the first ever Tidal show. So yeah, Lana she's good. She's established. Again, I don't want to besmirch her, but I would class her as old school now in the sense of she's got that wealth of talent, and well, she's on Progress as far as I know now. I know she's been on Progress a few times.
Yeah, the thing is, obviously, I'm a big advocate for women's wrestling because I feel like they should get the recognition they do obviously deserve. Because I feel like, and you might agree with this, and I'm referring obviously back to WWE, they're not the best represented, if that makes sense, the way on TV, in a sense.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, obviously, they do try occasionally. I mean, they had the women's pay-per-view several years ago, which I thought maybe would become a continuous thing. But then you look back and you think, it's just because they were doing a show where women weren't allowed. They kind of had to do a women's only pay-per-view. For me, that should be a regular thing. Have a women. They've got the talent is there. That's again going back to 1PW. That's what I liked about the women's title. It felt special. I mean, all 6 women involved in that match, or 7 women. They felt like stars. They used them very, very well. It felt like it mattered, which is all a promotion can do when it comes to women's wrestling. As long as it makes it feel like it matters, and it has more than one match. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, and I feel like that's probably that's a good thing. Obviously, British wrestling at the moment is the women. Obviously, there's so many there. I mean, Millie McKenzie's another one. Amal, I think I don't know if I pronounced that right. Xia Brookside, I think obviously Xia's a weird one because I don't know if she's I know she's migrating or moving abroad somewhere. So that's 3 names which stick out for the women's division for me.
Yeah, obviously, Brookside. She's had one of the best teachers in the world with being her dad. She's amazing what she does. I think her dad's still a trainer at the Performance Center. So if anyone's going stateside, it's going to be her. I'm sure her dad's bigged her up, and she can go over there and prove her worth. Fair play to her. Good, well done. But yeah, I mean that women's match. Tonga's another one that's coming through. Been at 1PW again. She's very prominent around the Leeds scene. Very lucky in Leeds. That's company that I mentioned before, True Grit. Their last show that I went to see, the main event was a 6-women's match to crown the women's champion. So that match was strong. It had 6 very, very good women wrestlers. It was the main event. And again, you felt like it mattered, and just the talent. Haley Hudson is another one. There's a lot coming through from Liverpool. Liverpool seem to produce some cracking women's wrestlers.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like when you've got like a big star like Lizzie Evo, they always set the biggest example for Liverpool. I mean, how can you not be proud, obviously, about stars coming out of Liverpool?
Yeah, but yeah, Hudson is, if you're not aware of her, Haley Hudson, she's one to watch. Again, she's young, she's absolutely smashing it. Ivy, that's called Ivy. She's quality. There's a local that's called Natalie Sykes. She's going to be a big star in like next 2-3 years. Again, a lot of these people will be going through Pursuit. Just type back again to Pursuit. A lot of these young people that are going to be huge in 2 or 3 years. I would bet my last dollar that they've had some influence through Pursuit or have been trained.
And the good thing about this is obviously we're kind of bringing it all back to what we said at the start is we've got these like core wrestlers, and it doesn't matter whether it's a £15 promotion, a £25, a 35, or even a 45. They're still performing no matter what the size of the crowd is, no matter what the venue is. They're still putting on great shows. So you're seeing like Session Moth Martina versus Lizzie Evo, not obviously in 1PW, but you're seeing it in like. There's another one I've seen it where they're facing off against someone. I can't remember what it is, but most of the point, you're still getting that core of play, Joe wrestlers.
That's it. And well, again, kind of tying back to obviously the future of British wrestling. Obviously, we're saying like the established names like your Rampages, your Haskins, your Cruisers. even like your Robbie X's and guys like that. These guys are smashing it in the ring, but what they're also doing is they're doing like seminars, they're doing coaching sessions with people. They're taking classes, they're running schools. So, you know, you've got these guys that are amazing now. What they're doing is they're passing their knowledge on and training the next generation of stars who will be, you know, as good as, if not better, than these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I love about obviously some of the British wrestlers as well is when you learn the backstory, some people can kind of relate. Like Robbie X went to obviously one PW show as a 10-year-old, and now he's obviously the open weight champion. It's a great backstory. Do you know what I mean? And I know there's a lot of people out there who can relate, saying, "Wow, I actually want to be a Robbie X," or something like that.
Yes, that's it, and that's it's more accessible as well, which is what I think makes the shows more enjoyable. You know, people are going to them. They're taking that's the thing about British wrestling as well. It's not just British wrestling, it's in America as well, it's everywhere. Is you've got choices, you've got like your family shows, you've got your like TNT or Rise and Leeds again, who do like your 18 plus shows where it's like very hardcore based, or it's in a nightclub, you know, it's very rowdy. You've got a sort of wealth of options. You know, you can take your kids to watch a show. If you don't want to, I'll go to this promotion on my own at like 8 o'clock at night, and I'll watch like some dude get smashed with a fucking chair. So, but yeah, your kids are going along to the family shows. If they show an interest in it, it's not like it was 20 years ago where you're like, yeah, sorry son, you're gonna have to travel for about 2 hours, you know, to learn a wrestler, you know, learn to be a wrestler. The chances are there's probably a school about 30. Still here. Chances are there's a school literally about 30 minutes away from wherever you are in this country.
That's probably about right for me, actually. Let's be honest. About half an hour away.
Yeah, pretty much. I guarantee you, anywhere in this country, there will be a wrestling school. Can't vouch for the quality of it, but there will be a wrestling school at least, at the most, about 30 minutes away from you, where you live. And that is making it a hell of a lot more accessible for the next generation of British wrestling stars.
Yeah, and I also think it's where the obviously promotion is obviously situated. Obviously, one PW is obviously Doncaster area. Obviously, you've mentioned True Grit, which is obviously close to you. You've got Progress, which I do believe is London. I'm not quite sure on that one.
Yeah, I want to say London. I think of it as a London promotion. But again, there's a lot of good. I noticed obviously I said I'm based in Leeds. Also, I'm more sort of northern based. I unfortunately don't get a chance to. I watch Progress like online on YouTube and stuff like that. But I'm aware, just from talking to people, that it's like 20 or 30 promotions, you know, down south, you know, and probably half of them have got schools or connected to schools in some way, shape, or form. And it's just, I mean, obviously, we're kind of low north. If you go further up north, you've got Newcastle. Newcastle's got an amazing wrestling scene. You've got North up there. The wealth of talent in Newcastle is freaking mental. You've got your Howard Drakes, Roxy Bell. There's loads. I've got Josh Kirkup. I've kind of put myself on the spot here and I'm struggling. But there is, there's at least 10, 15 names. Primate, there's another one that springs to mind. He was, you know, a big one from out of there. Yeah, and then you go further north, you got Scotland's wrestling in Scotland's huge.
It's unbelievable. I mean, you could go through each county and pick wrestlers out from every single one.
That's the wealth of talent we've got at this minute, and it's just everywhere in this country. Sorry, I kind of sidebarred again, but as you were sort of saying, you mentioned about the Robbie X, you know, going to 1PW as a kid. You know, kids can go to shows now, and it's an obtainable goal. You know, if they like the look of being a wrestler, they want to be a wrestler. I'm not saying they'll make a living out of it, but it's something you can definitely go and do. And I don't know, it's like kids going to karate like 30, 40 years ago. You know, you sort of be looking for like a karate class because you'd be watching Kung Fu films on TV. You know, you can watch wrestling now and go to a school in your local area.
Yeah, I can actually relate to that because I kind of did karate when I was younger just for that actual reason.
My little dude does it. I sort of take him, but obviously he just kind of does it because I want him to learn some discipline. But again, same with wrestling. You know, it's good, but just go out there. If your kid wants to do it, trust me, there's a school near you. Go watch it. If you don't, go watch their shows. All schools are tied into promotions who put on shows. Go watch their shows.
Or as we always say, support your local promotions.
That's the all and end all. And that's to summarize this episode. That was my point of wanting to do this episode. Was just to put the spotlight on British wrestling. Obviously, we know the big names.
Mm-hmm.
They're always going to get your fans. 1PW pulling in 1,000 people. Obviously, still support them. Always go to their shows. Just take a little bit of time. If you like what you see at these guys, go look at the little guys as well, because the little guys are awesome. Trust me, you'll have a blast. There's nothing quite like just watching wrestling in person.
Yeah, I agree there totally. That's why I always like to do review shows on stuff like that for people who's been there, because I feel like it's one thing to review a show watching it on TV, but to be there in person, you get more emotion. Would that be a correct term? Would you say?
Well, definitely, yeah. Because I don't always do it for most of them, but I've done it for the last couple of 1PW shows as well, kind of thing. And just literally, there's normally like 2 or 3 of us just doing it. And you know what? Even if there was a match that you watched and you're in and ahhing about, which thankfully that hasn't been the case yet, but even like a 7-star match suddenly becomes an 8 or a 9-star match when you start talking about it with your mates. I mean, you start remembering all the good stuff, and you kind of like. I suppose it depends on your mindset. I'm very much of, if I don't like something, I'm not really going to talk about it. I'm not going to focus on it. I'm not going to dwell on it. I'd rather talk about what I enjoyed. I like to see the positive and be like, that spot was fucking awesome. I fucked up on that spot. It doesn't matter. Fuck it. Shit happens. But this bit was awesome. You know what I mean? I love that bit. And all of a sudden, like, everybody involved is getting really hyped and excited about the match again. And we're talking about it. And that's how it feels after you've been to a show. After you've gone to a show and you're just walking home, or you go for a drink after a show and you sat there talking about it. It's just, yeah. For me, that's the awesomeness of wrestling, going to see wrestling live.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we're doing, obviously, on our show is the next one, Devil's Due. And obviously, you will be on that show as well, doing the review show. So I'm excited for that one to get your thoughts on that one.
Yeah, if you haven't changed your mind after hearing me rambling on this one. But yeah, I don't know if I can't speak for the other guys. I don't know if it changes at any point, or if sometimes people go into it positively or negatively. But yeah, I'll literally be there, man. I'll be like positive P. I'll just be like, this shit was fucking awesome. I'm loving every minute of it. Just getting hyped just to talk about it all over again. I'm just a big advocate, just enjoying shit. I just think it's awesome.
Exactly, and that's the idea. Obviously, the show is obviously, just talk about it freely. If you didn't like it, just say it. Do you know what I mean? We're not going to judge you, because that's the aim of the show.
Yeah. I'm not discouraging anyone to. If you didn't like something, yeah, say you didn't like it, but just don't dwell on it too much. That's my style anyway. But like, didn't like this bit, but this bit was fucking boss, and so I'm going to talk about this bit. I've mentioned this, talk about this. This was fucking awesome, and I think again, there's a lot of that in British wrestling. It's not all good. I'm not an idiot. There's a lot of shit out there, unfortunately, as well. But as a ticket buying member of the audience, that's up to you to find out. You'll go to a show. If you go to one bad show, don't let it put you off. There's lots of other good stuff out there. You've unfortunately just been to a shit show. The next show you go to will be fucking awesome.
Definitely. Are you going to be? I presume you're going to be at Devil's Due then.
I am indeed. Tickets have been bought, and will be. What's right? I was just totally going to pull a U-turn here and sort of say that I didn't focus too much. Oh, I'm so excited. I didn't focus too much on. Son of a bit. Fucking screen went. I did. It's just my phone's just been an absolute. I'm having a nightmare today, man. You still there? I'm still.
Yeah.
Sweet. Right. I'm just been going on about how I like to focus on the positive and all this kind of sort of stuff, but I'm going to show the dark side of me, and I'm going to sort of ask you, what did you think to the Lincoln location?
Where it actually situated?
Yeah, the venue itself, the engine shed.
Obviously, last time I went, it was obviously the first time I went there, but I've got to be honest. I wouldn't say it's a bad venue, but it's different. I will be honest.
It was, yeah, it was. I didn't want to miss some of the stuff that kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. So that's obviously not 1PW's fault. That's the engine shed recruiting twats. But it was just very crammed for me. It's a good location. I think if they I know they've got to sell the tickets and I know they've got to make the money, but I think there's a point where it just becomes overcrowded and it was just an absolute nightmare, like during the intermissions to get anywhere. It's just, and just for me, I like the Dome. I think I'm just a massive nothing. The Dome's just so good. I think anywhere else just kind of seems a bit like,
Yeah, the thing is with the Dome is it's just massive. Do you know what I mean? You could literally get up and you've got room to maneuver.
Yeah, and obviously I know. Again, going back to MPW, they did shows outside of the Dome. I remember going to like Barnsley to watch one in like a smaller venue. But yes, it's just I think the thing is though we're just so spoiled with the Dome, you know, with the team. And the problem for me with Lincoln is ground seating. I've never been a fan of it. I think obviously I've got seats again. I'll give it another go. But for the future shows at Lincoln, I think I'm just going to stand up for like 3 hours. Just so I can see. I missed half of the Cara Davey Richards match because it was on the map. I was up there. It's like I can't really. Again, it depends how lucky you get with people sat in front of you sometimes. But I was like, I can't see this. It's on the map. I can't see what's going on.
Right. Okay. No, I mean, I've kind of not got that issue because obviously I'm quite tall. So when I sit up, I've kind of could just literally see it. It's just perks of being tall. Like, yeah, sorry.
You're in front of me, and that's why I can't freaking see. I was a little guy sat behind you, like I can't see. I've got this massive dude in front of me. I can't see shit.
Well, you could have just said I'd gone like that.
Yeah. So again, not to besmirch Lincoln, it's a nice venue. I would just be a little bit cautious about. Again, I know they've got to sell tickets, they've got to make money. Just probably don't sort of sardine us as much next time.
Yeah, I think it might be a bit more spacious next time because I do believe a lot of people did complain about that one.
Yeah, so that's my only negative. We've talked about British wrestling for 57 minutes so far, and that's my only negative. So, and we'll forget about that. We'll shine it up, and we'll talk about the positives. So, again, another thing about British wrestling at the minute is the amount of we can't do a show not talk about Will Ospreay. You've got guys. You've got a guy like Will Ospreay doing your 1PW shows, doing your Rev Pros, and then he's going back to Japan and absolutely smashing it in New Japan. He's probably like the most recognizable name outside of WWE for most wrestling fans.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we get to see him, in the UK like every other month or every month. Holding his own. Again, I know he's a British talent. Obviously, kind of treated like an import in the sense of against the Robbie X. But Robbie was made to look like an absolute star at Lincoln last time.
That for me is probably my match since they've obviously made the return because the backstory was absolutely great. Do you know you had a guy like Robbie X trying to prove that he can hang with Will Ospreay, and the one thing that I think what made it for me more is when I watched it back, Joe Dabrowski's commentary was absolutely flawless on it.
That's the thing. That's why as well. It's very weird. When you go to any show, is obviously a lot of people who watch wrestling. You're used to commentary. You're used to watching on TV. You're used to watching pay-per-views or premium live events, whatever bollocks I want to call it. So you're used to commentary. When you go to watch a show, the first few times I remember as a fan, the first few times I ever went to a wrestling show, I was like, I was expecting like some fucking voice in my head or something. I ended up like doing myself. It just kind of takes you out of it. Then you get used to it very quickly. But it's very cool then to read what shows you've been to with commentary, because it's kind of like you think you know the story, but it's nice. The commentator just puts a pin in it. I'm like, yes, that is what the story was. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I cannot agree that at all. I mean, you said it pretty much best there.
So, all that means is make sure you buy the DVDs and the Blu-rays and support the merch as well and listen to the commentary until 1PW gets its own network, which I'm sure will be coming around at some point. I think every promotion, if possible, should have some sort of a network or promotional access to shows.
Wait, can you imagine every single British show on one, like in one place on one network? Oh my god!
Like I think I don't know. I think it's on Amazon. There's like a subscription channel called BritBox. You know, it's all like all the best of British, you know, comedies, sitcoms, blah 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 blah. Yeah, that would be freaking like yeah. Like, I don't know. Again, showing my age, whether if you remember this, I think about 15 years ago, there was a Sky. They tried to do a wrestling channel on Sky, and it kind of focused on some American stuff, but there's a lot of UK stuff on there as well, and it had different promotions on.
I remember it briefly, but I don't know obviously what actually happened with it.
Obviously, yeah, it just kind of got shit canned eventually, kind of thing. But that to me would be if somebody. It's never going to happen because every promotion's obviously looking out for themselves, rightly so. You know, they've got to cover their books, pay the bills. Which promotion gets top billing on the channel and X, Y, and Z. You know, it makes the other ones look weak. But yeah, for me, that would be if you could get a handful of pro wrestling promotions onto one channel, one subscription service, right? If you had a subscription service with 5 promotions, 5 British promotions, who would be your top 5 to have on a subscription service?
Obviously, you got one PW. I mean, that's self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Progress, Rev Pro. I nearly said ICW for some reason.
Yeah, for sure, man. They are to me, they're second to Progress for like as high as one.
And then the 5th one, I would have to go to the TNT one.
Yeah. Again, yeah, a lot of good talent over there. It's a different feel to it as well, very sort of hardcore based. So they'd be very much like your ECW of the subscription service kind of thing. Yeah, again, you know, you've listed 5 promotions there, each one of them solid. Obviously, Progress and ICW were on the WWE network at one point. I think they're obviously still there in the back catalogues. I don't think going on. So again, sorry to go back, but just to big up British wrestling, how big are ICW and Progress? You know, that WWE put them onto their network. That's how well though they were doing.
Exactly. I mean, when you look at actually some of the ICW stuff, you've had some obviously talent from WWE on there. I mean, Del Rey obviously was a prime example. I'm sure Finn Balor's been there. I'm sure Triple H has even turned up there at one point.
Yeah, he turned up at ICW at one point. Obviously, the biggest one is Drew. When Drew first released and came back, they showed footage of it on Steve Austin's Broken Skull Ranch when he was talking to Drew. When Drew made his comeback into ICW, it's on the network to be seen. I think Trips turned up at ICW and Progress, you know, before they kind of did this partnership.
There you go. I mean, when you've got biggest talent like that showing up on your obviously show, I mean, what can you say?
Yeah, that's it exactly. And for me, that was again. I think obviously it was just prior to NXT UK, so you know they were scouting for talent for that. But it shows the wealth of talent that we had at that point. And as I sort of say, for me, it's better now than it was then.
Oh yeah, so, definitely. It's definitely in the right direction.
Yeah, and again, kind of going on to subscription, we're talking about this. I just want to do a quick shout out to, so I'm overly biased, is True Grit, who I'm always for wrestling companies trying something new, you know, and they are incorporating, they're trying to do, every live show they do is the finale of a series, and they have that series on YouTube. So they've got it's called True Grit, it's the True Grit channel, and they have 6 episodes that are filmed at Pursuit's Wrestling's facility, and they're just like little mini shows, and each one's an episode. It's telling a story. It's like a series of a TV show, and then like I said, the finale, all the payoffs are at the live show that you go to see. I just think it's an original idea. It's something new, and each series has got a focus point. Let's say series 2 was all about the women's title. So 4 series it was building up that 6 women's title match that I mentioned earlier at the last show that I went to. So yeah, I just want to shout out to them, shout out to any other promotion out there that's thinking about trying something like that or trying something different. Go for it, you know, stand out, you know, try and be a little bit different. We mentioned there's that much wealth out there, there's that many promotions, it's very easy to get lost. That's the downside to all this awesomeness out there. It's very easy to get lost in the shuffle of awesomeness. So do something different, try something new. It's like I mentioned TNT for the hardcore side of stuff. You know, if I think of hardcore wrestling in England, TNT springs to mind. Or Rise again in Leeds, very underground-based wrestling company in Leeds, very unique, very just fucked up. But yeah, that would be my point of. Are you aware of any promotions out there that stand out for any particular reason?
Not to obviously other than the ones we've mentioned, probably not at the moment, no. But there probably will be loads out there. Let's be honest.
That's it. Another one I want to shout out to is Sacrifice Pro Wrestling down south. I only just got wind of them recently, but it's a charity wrestling promotion. Literally, all of the money they make goes to a different charity every month. So, and all the wrestlers involved in it don't get paid. Their payday, goes into the charity pot. So yeah, and they have some really good names down there, and some just awesome, crazy storylines as well. So if you're not aware of them, go onto YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel, check out what they've done. It's charity, man. It's just nice. It's just nice to hear, that somebody's giving back as well, kind of thing. And wrestlers are doing it out of the kindness of their heart.
Yeah, and I like that little segment that you've just said, giving back. Do you know what I mean? I absolutely love that bit.
Yeah. Right, we've got on. We haven't touched on something that I was in two minds about touching upon it. It's really badly dark pun, but obviously, any fan of British wrestling of a certain length we're going on about how great British wrestling is right now. This wasn't the case 6-7 years ago, several years ago, man. British wrestling. I'm not talking about NXT UK here. That was not it. British wrestling was very much nearly on its arse a while ago, unfortunately, due to just the scene. It was a dark and scary place for some people. And I'm not going to draw it too long, but I think it needs to be mentioned because to appreciate the good, you've got to acknowledge the bad.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I just think it just screams how well everybody's done to come back from that. And obviously, I'm going on about the speaking out stuff that happened years ago. Unfortunately, a lot of people lost jobs or got named and shamed, and basically got blacklisted. But it would have been very easy for a lot of things to go under at that point, unfortunately, because we did lose a shitload of talent.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think obviously people have come back from it stronger. People have thankfully learned the error of the ways, and things have improved. And I would like to say, everybody's learned from it.
Yeah, I mean, you could do a whole episode about that one, but the fact that everybody's learned from it. I mean, it's not something I kind of look into. I always look forward rather than back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. I've been sat talking to you, and it's kind of been in the back of my head, like, do I mention it? Do I not mention it? I didn't want to do an episode about British wrestling and not mention it, but I obviously don't want to dwell on it. But I just kind of want to use it as an example of dark times. But look where we are now. Look how fucking awesome it is. So, you know what I mean? Shit happens. We've learned from it. But again, it kind of ties into like the women's wrestling. I think women's wrestling is so much prominent now. It's held in such high regard. And I think maybe, it was a ripple effect of that people got behind it and showed a lot of enthusiasm for it and just wanted to embrace it and show its support as well.
Yeah, that's like I said, I mentioned earlier, that's one thing I'm a big, obviously, fan of, obviously, is women's wrestling. And like I said, there's so much great talent. Ones obviously we've mentioned. There's probably even ones we've not mentioned there. And
we haven't mentioned.
There you go. So if you're listening, if we've not mentioned your name, it's not because we forgot. It's just there's so much talent out there.
That's it. I mean, I think we've mentioned like 3 names, from the last one PW show. There's 4 other names there that were amazing. I just saw a crew great. There were 6 people there. I've probably mentioned 2 or 3. I don't want to keep mentioning names because it's just then going to be a case of like, if we mention so many, the ones that we don't mention, it's going to look bad. So if we mention 1 or 2, it's just because there is so much talent out there for men and women. You know, we've mentioned a shed load of dudes as well. I can guarantee you there's probably at least 50 fucking names that we haven't mentioned. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, there's absolutely billions. I mean, I imagine there'd be loads.
I do want to do a massive shout out though, as a British wrestling fan. For me, and when I've spoken to people, there's one name above all names in British wrestling who's basically like the godfather. I've had a few people refer to him as the Obi-Wan of British wrestling, and that's Rampage Brown. For me, he's just, any wrestler that I've spoken to, if put on the spot, will say Rampage Brown is the best wrestler in the UK today. Whether it's as a wrestler, obviously not all fans will agree. You like who you like, but from a wrestler's point of view, from what I've heard and everybody I've spoken to, yeah, just a massive shout out to Rampage Brown for being awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, the two names obviously who stick out for me right now is obviously Lizzie Evo for the women's division, and in the minute, I will be honest, I cannot pick a male wrestler because there's just so many.
Well, obviously, I'm big up Rampage, international wise, but it's obviously still British. It's Will Ospreay, man. You don't get much bigger. Well, not to besmirch Pac, you know, Pac's fucking boss. I'd love to see Pac at a 1PW show at one point, just putting that out there. But Will Ospreay's got to be the biggest name, and probably he's just next level, man. He'll tell you that. Obviously, he told us that at the end of the last show.
And the other name which stands out for me is Zack Sabre Jr. That's another one.
Oh, yes. Obviously, we haven't seen him yet back here, which would be amazing. Yeah, the dude's tearing it up. I mean, you've got him and Danielson, you know, having war of words, sort of saying who's the best technical wrestler. And if you can actually say to Bryan Danielson, I'm a better technical wrestler than you, and people are like, you might be right. Yeah, again, speaks volumes. You know,
if them two ever get in the ring, that is going to be a match which will literally blow the roof off the place.
Forbidden Door 2, man, hopefully. That's what, Forbidden Door. Because it should have happened last year. Obviously, Danielson was injured, so we got Claudio instead, which was still a boss match. So fingers crossed this year. We've very much focused on British wrestlers in Britain, rightly so. But there's a plethora of talent out in the world as well, like say Zack Sabre Jr. I've just mentioned Pac. Obviously, Will Ospreay coming backwards and forwards. Drew McIntyre's a British wrestler. Sheamus is Republic, so he's not. So we'll forget about Sheamus. But yeah, obviously you just look at NXT. NXT, you got there's a handful of British talent still in WWE at the minute.
Yeah, even in obviously other promotions as well. AEW, obviously Jamie Hayter from Southampton.
Yes, see her at the New Twist of Fate. Kip Sabian is not on a lot, but when he's there, yeah, he's making an impression still. Kip's very, very cool.
For some reason, is he actually British? I didn't even know he was.
Yeah, Kip Sabian's British. Yeah. That's why he was teamed in the early days of AEW with someone who shall not be mentioned, but he was, he liked to cause a lot of havoc.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. I gotcha. Yeah.
But yeah, Kip, if you go back and watch some old school Progress, you'll see Kip kicking about. He was very, actually, I say Progress. I think he was in Progress, but he was sort of very Manchester based. Was Kip, if I remember correctly.
Okay, I've learned something new today.
Yeah, so someone to cheer on. But obviously, Paige, Saraya, the original, the whole Knight family, really. Shout out to them. We can't do wrestling, not mention the Knight family. And hopefully, Ricky Knight will be back at 1PW soon as well, because I enjoy seeing him.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited which wrestlers are going to show up in the next few pay-per-views. Are we going to see some new ones?
We've got not British, but we've got Speedball turning up at the Dome, which I think is huge. He's one of he's an Ospreay. He's one of the biggest names on the independent scene at the minute. Obviously, we've got the god of independent wrestling at Lincoln next month. We've got Matt Cardona. Again, British wrestling, man. If you'd have said to me a year ago you'd have Will Ospreay versus Matt Cardona at a 1PW show, I'd have slapped you for being a fool.
Yeah, I think I would.
So that's it, man. We'll wrap it there. British wrestling is in such a good place. We've got Will Ospreay versus Matt Cardona in Lincoln.
At Devil's Due, and I'm going to be there, and you're going to be there.
Yes. Come buy us a drink if you want. I'm not, I will not say no. But yeah, to me, that's it, mate. We'll wrap it on that because it doesn't get much better than that.
No, I think that's a great thing to end on.
Thank you so much for joining me. Obviously, you've got your stuff that you put out there. Get it plugged. Let people know where to find it.
Of course. So if you want to find our show, you can head to effingwrestling.com. You can find all our social medias on there. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube. We're absolutely everywhere. We've got Pro Wrestling Tea Store, prowrestlingtees.com/effingwrestling. We've got plenty of designs on there. Follow our YouTube channel because we put shows out every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And that's pretty much it.
Click the bell so you know when you get notifications for when the shows turn up.
There you go. Thank you for that.
That's all right. So yeah, obviously you know where to find us. You're watching this. We're on Facebook. We've got the Work the Left Side page on there. Join us for a chat. I'm on Twitter at WTLS420, Instagram WTLS316, and come say hi because as you've probably gathered from this episode, there's nothing more I like than talking about wrestling, other than giving my son and my wife a cuddle. But this is the close second. My ears behind. I can only apologise, dude. I've kind of went off on tyrants every now and again. This is your first experience of talking to me, so we'll try and rein it in next time.
That's fine. I will look forward to obviously our show in the day after, the Thursday after Devil's Due. So yeah, that's all from me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, dude. Hopefully we'll do it again soon on either show. It's been absolutely awesome talking to you, dude. So thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Later.